welcome back to another episode of Ice to Meet You. I'm Willie Jr. and
I'm Willie Sr.
Can I give you an introduction?
Go ahead.
The person to my right is the man that made me, my father, Chili Willie.
Nice to meet you. Let the stories begin.
So, one thing that we've spoken about, but you never got really into detail about it, is how you started the business, where you were presented with a choice, right? And it was either the Boar's Head route, or the ice. So,
well, it goes before that. I went to Westchester Community College.
how many years of schooling do you have?
How many years of school did I have? Let me tell you this. I had, I think, 3 months of school, and I always said, after 47 years in business, if I had 4 months of school, maybe 5 months of school, I would have been a motherfucker. But I didn't. So back to that, I went to college. I had my 4 weeks, 4 months, 4 weeks, whatever it was. I found out very early it wasn't the right thing for me because I was young and foolish. So I remember having a conversation with my father, letting my father know that it wasn't for me. And he says, well, you got to figure it out. So I didn't know what to do. I had no idea, like, where do I go from here? I know, you're on your own. Do what you have to do to make it work, and don't get arrested.
Don't get arrested.
And don't get arrested.
That's some good advice.
So, yeah, he was good for that. So I decided not to go. My father told me to figure it out. I had an opportunity from my father's brother, William Dariano, my namesake. He ended up buying a frozen food route. So I sold frozen food in Black Harlem, Spanish Harlem, Birdseye, Sara Lee, Swanson TV Dinners, Elio's Pizza, OJ, down the list. I had everything. I had about, who knows how many different items, 400 or 500 items that I had to go door to door in my van with frozen foods, vegetables, corn in the cob, and whatever. And that was good in the wintertime because it heated up the house. They turn on the oven, put a TV dinner on. They got they hit two birds at one. They kept the house warm and they fed their family. Then the summer began and somebody asked for ice. I said, ice? Let me see what I could do. So I jumped the gun. I ended up buying an ice machine, put it in my mother's garage, start bagging my own ice, knocking on doors in the streets of Harlem. I felt very uncomfortable there, but I had to make myself comfortable because I had no choice. The biggest challenge for me was making myself comfortable. At 17 years old, skinny little white boy in Harlem didn't go too well because everybody crossing the street would hit me for a quarter or 50 cents. I used to come home crying to your grandmother, Nina, and she would just say, get over it and figure it out. Well, every day I used to go on Lenox Avenue, cross the street. Now, they hit me every day. They hit me every day for money. And I didn't like it. I had to switch it. So how do I do it? I don't know. I have no idea. You'll figure it out. Well, I got approached by people asking me for quarters and 50 cents all day long, that it came to the thing where crossing the street, waiting for the be clear to go, I would have 50 people coming at me. I could pick that one person out that was going to approach me. And so he's 50 feet away, 25 feet away, 10 feet away, 5 feet away. Now he's right in front of my face. What do I do? The hell did I know? I dribbled out of my mouth as he got closer. And when he was 4 or 5 feet away, I gave the head switch. They never asked me for any money again, ever. But the funny thing about it is, after doing this for months and months and training myself to pick the guy that was going to approach me for money, I would hit a black area like Warburton Avenue and start twitching. And it wasn't good. It was a habit. It was a bad habit, But I got rid of it, and then I started hitting the doors, going to every supermarket, every store that was there. I didn't have a payphone. I had to look for a payphone. I had a roll of quarters.
Yellow
And,
pages.
huh?
Yellow pages.
And there was nothing but I could do but present myself to the people, knocking on doors, making them feel comfortable with me, selling them a product that they wanted. Well, little by little, the frozen food died out. Ice was an easy sale. It was only one product. It was good profit. It was cash. And I just knocked on the doors.
Can I ask you a question? Why? So to give context to anybody that's watching, Boar's Head. Boar's Head is the Cold Cup brand, and
No.
yeah,
My uncle owned the Boar's Head route,
yeah.
and then he bought a frozen food route. The Boar's Head and the frozen food had nothing to do together.
no.
He needed a driver.
I get that, but you had an opportunity. I wanted to ask you, why didn't you do the Boar's Head and the frozen food, and you went with the ice? What was the deciding factor?
I had to do something, and I had to do it quick. A matter of fact, that week I was 17, 18 years old. We were on our way to Florida, all packed up, ready to go. Me and my friends. My uncle came to the house. He asked me for the opportunity. I said, well, I'm going to Florida. He explained to me that Florida, you could go anywhere, anytime. I'm giving you an opportunity to have money and make money and be self-employed. Then you could go to Florida. So I did that. And I just kept on knocking on doors every day, 7 days a week, up at 5, finish at 9, doing book work, counting the cash, blah, 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 blah.
One
Built a reputation.
One thing that you haven't spoken about, and I know I'm going to ask you, what was the one job that you had that was like very significant in the turning point of your mindset to bring you to you wanted to work for yourself? So what job or what instance specifically at that car dealership did you have when you were younger?
I worked at Corvettes on Central Avenue. And
for how long?
4 weeks tops, where my manager was very disrespectful to me, and I didn't like it. And so I apologized to him and say, hey, look, I'm sorry, I didn't do it right. Well, he came out with a nasty remark. So I told him, F you, no problem. The next thing you know, my sister was the manager at Corvettes. She got a phone call. I had to go. Bye-bye. Move on. And I had to do what I had to do. And the only thing that I wanted to do was work for myself. And I made a promise to myself that anybody that works for me, if there's a problem, I will let you know when you're doing good, and I will definitely let you know when you're doing bad. But I will never embarrass you in front of any type of people. It's a private matter between me and you. And that's it. So I try my best to hold my cool and treat everybody with respect that's working for me. As I give them respect, excuse me, I expect the same respect back. When it doesn't happen, when I don't get respect, I'm a different animal, a totally different animal.
Well, that's one thing that I've noticed as a kid or growing up and being in the business, how one, the business was built, two, how you were, because you were a lunatic and you know that. You were a lunatic and like you would go 0 to 1,000. And one thing that I've learned, or one thing that I've come across with other people, especially that are a little older in age, is that those people that were crazy when they were younger, eventually they reach a point where they realize nothing matters. And for you to get so crazy over a certain situation, it's really not worth the time, energy, or effort. Would you agree now, being a little older?
As you get older, you get wiser. But I got an excuse. I had NDV, whatever you call it.
AVM.
AVM.
You're the MVP, but you had AVM.
I was born with it. And, when I went to the doctor says, hey, you know what? It's not your arteries that are clogged. It's your brain that's messed up. I says, hey, my brother's been telling me that for years. But I had to do what I had to do, get it done. I'm grateful for the shape that I'm in. Be grateful for what you have, not what you don't have, because tomorrow you never know what it's going to be taken away from you. Did that
What
answer your question?
you did? What's one of the biggest things? What's one of the biggest differences from? So for those watching, we are removed from like resale. We've been removed out of resale. So packaged ice for resale purposes, where we service delis, bodegas, gas stations, supermarkets, for some time now. And that business was pound to pavement, May to Labor Day. So like middle of May to Labor Day. What's being removed from that business? What's one thing that you learned or one thing that you can enjoy now being removed from that part of the business? So you built something, provided for your family. You built a very good reputation, a very successful business, a very good name for yourself. What's one thing that you've learned from removing yourself from that part of the business?
You know, getting out of that business, I was concerned.
I was going to say,
I was concerned, worried, scared shit. You know, I had cash all the time. And now I'm getting rid of my baby. And I
what's
was definitely afraid of it. But going fast forward, you know, go back a little bit. I started at 5 and then ended up at 10, 11, sometimes 12 o'clock at night. Now, with new school, I open up at 8:30 and finish at 3. That's some sort of quality of life. And I don't have that rat race with 30 different employees with 30 different personalities, with 20 of them robbing from you. Right now, we got a little six pack that I'm happy with. We're a little family. We bump heads, but we make it work.
and again, when there's things that have to get done, we coordinate either early or later, depending on the situation.
You know, in the ice industry, and anybody in the ice industry knows this, anything could change at any given time.
Well, I would say not just the ice industry, any service, hospitality industry, in maybe specifically in those, but other industry too. Things happen, you have to change and you have to adjust on the fly.
Adjustment is a very hard, was very difficult for me to do. But then yet, growing up, I never saw a beach. I never took my 3 children to the beach. I never took them to the playground.
No, but like we would
We
go
had
to
ice in the van. I
we-
remember a situation with Lewis. The van broke down. I had to rent a Jeep Cherokee. It was like 95 degrees out, and ice didn't last too long in the truck for 8 hours. Well, by the 6th hours, the floor was filled. The floor was filled with water. I was in Harlem. There was a little pet store there. I had to entertain my son, so I bought some goldfish, put them in the front seat. They eventually moved. The fish eventually moved to the back. Every time I wanted to entertain my son from him, I want to go home. I want to go home. I step on a break. The goldfish come up. We play for a few minutes and move on. You know, 85% of the stuff that we worry about doesn't even happen. And that goes for everybody, but it's a fact. And I try not to worry. I'm concerned about it, but go ahead next.
what you said you were scared about the about getting rid of that part of the business. What made you confident? What made you confident? What made you willing to, you know, get out of that part of the business?
Well, you know that it was a battle for me, from the people that I was buying the ice from to my competition. And I had plenty of wars, but I really never lost a fight because I always had a good, solid relationship.
And we also
With my
had
customers.
phenomenal. We also had,
And service,
we still do.
service.
We
I
have
was always
phenomenal
big on
service.
service. This one called for ice. Stop what you're doing and do it. Get him out of the way.
And that was something that you always did. And you know, when I'll never forget it, when I was on the road and I was still in the van and we had some kind of system where we did this guy on this day, or we subdivided our territory or the area that we service, and we did it. And I think it was like 4th of July, and I'm like, yo, we're done. Everybody's done. and it was like 11, 12 o'clock in the
Oh,
ice
that was a
industry.
big adjustment for
In
me.
the ice industry, to be done at 12 o'clock on the 4th of July. 4th of July is like the Super Bowl in the ice industry. And I remember when we first got a little more organized, he was like, there's no way. There's no way we're done. And
Opening up at 8:30 was a big adjustment for me.
but
big
I'm saying
adjustment.
with getting more organized, it created more structure. We were able to forecast things a little bit. But what made you comfortable? What was like, what was the deciding factor when I said, yo, Dad, look, this is the move? I did, forecast numbers and it presented itself. What was the deciding factor?
Well, at that given time, loyalty was no longer any loyalty. Customers didn't care where they got their ice from as long as they got it. They used to call up my competition, say that I went on vacation, and they were covering for me. When I would do the stop, I would see somebody's ice in the box, and it was just disrespected. And I felt disrespected. So it was a golden opportunity to take advantage of a situation and a gamble. And I'm glad that I took that gamble and went with it because we are definitely working smarter, not harder. That's the whole key. And have a good crew behind you that you could believe in and trust in.
Do you regret it?
Do I regret it?
Do you regret getting out of that part of the business?
Absolutely not. I love what I'm doing now. I'm not as frustrated as I used to be. The demands aren't as high. When you're dealing with 30 guys with 30 different personalities, it's a struggle. It's a struggle. Trimming the fat, cutting the expenses, getting all the trucks off the road, use what we need to make it work and go from there. No, I don't regret it.
I mean, I remember, I look back and like, since you've been in the building's changed so much, but coming in at 6, leaving at 6. And I remember I didn't want to talk to anybody. I honestly did not, want to talk to anybody, and going on the sawmill and turning my phone off and putting classical music on. And that was my time to unwind. And then, okay, it's going to be again tomorrow. And you're going to have this
Every day
this
it was
little,
the same thing. And everybody
it was like
wanted to move
Groundhog's
on.
Day all over again. Groundhog's Day all over again for 4 months. But what's one thing that you learned? What's one thing that you learned from that part of the business and you apply it to where we are today?
Working smarter, not harder. And in that particular business, it was my job to make sure that everybody had ice and they never ran out.
Well, that's like I'm sure everybody heard it. You can't keep everybody happy, and like we've done a great job in that part of the business to make sure people had ice. Or if we go there, they're halfway, fill up, they don't want to fill up, and then somebody comes, and then that same person calls like, "Hey, we're coming tomorrow. We were there." Like you can't keep everybody happy, and you're limited to what you can do based on that decision maker who's there.
Well, you know what? It's not my job to keep everybody happy, and it never will be. I always thought it is, but it's impossible. You can't. There's no way in hell that you could keep everybody happy. But if you get a large percentage of them happy, I'm good with that.
So
just talking, as I said, I had a style of my own. And at that time, I only had a beeper. And the beeper, they would leave their message and they would call me 10 or 20 times. I'm out of ice. I'm out of ice. It was like in a hurry. Okay. So that was the night that Holyfield and Tyson were fighting. And the next day was 95 degrees and everybody was out of ice. Well, I can remember it like it was yesterday. And my message was, look, I know you're out of ice. It's hot. You call me 10 times. You only got to call me twice. If you call me more than 3 times, I'm going to bite your fucking ear off. Well, one store told another, and this one told another. Everybody was listening to my message. They liked my personality and sense of humor.
But to make it relevant to today, that was a form of communication, and essentially
that was my social media.
But exactly, you went viral before it was viral on your beeper. And I remember, like, I forgot when I was younger, I used to have to check the messages and get a pen and paper, and like there was a limit. And like I know when you had a good message or it was really busy, you would reach the max. And if it reached the max, you have to delete. And if you didn't delete, nobody could leave a message and the phone would be
Yeah,
non-stop.
at that particular time, you were allowed 500 calls, and then anything after 500 calls, they charged you a quarter. After the Mike Tyson thing, I think I had to pay like $250 for overcalls because everybody wanted to hear
And
me. I'll cut your fucking ear off.
$250 in that time was a lot of money for a phone bill.
Oh yeah. Now everybody's watching their money, their nickels, forgetting about, you know, when I lost the supermarket of 35 years, he had a good salesman come in that painted a good story. But I had a better story. He never lost a sale. I had the golden frame and I knew I couldn't get to him. So I just let it go. Well, the moral of that story was I haven't heard from him. I haven't heard from him in 2 or 3 years. And for out of the blue, it was Father's Day. He ended up calling me for Father's Day and to wish me a happy Father's Day. I mean, we had a relationship. Me, I told him, why didn't you call me for Mother's Day, mother?
Well, look, that's just sometimes how it goes. That you could do the right thing and somebody will just go ahead and they'll go because of the price. And I always say price, service, and quality. You could pick two because you can't have all three. And you have to know as a company what you represent, and even from a buying standpoint, you have to know what you want. And you can't have all three. And you have to be selective and pick and choose in what you want, and you can't have everything. But
Hey,
that was something that we bumped heads a lot because I would fall back, and then eventually
I
when
don't like to lose sales.
no,
But now it's a lot easier for me to say, no, I can't help you.
because
Like the time the guy came over here for the dry ice. He wanted 10 pounds of dry ice, and it took him an hour he wanted 3 pounds, and I wouldn't sell it to him. And finally I says, look, I'm sorry, I can't help you.
let me ask you this: what's some of the challenges of entrepreneurship, especially as a family?
For me, very difficult. Very, very difficult, as you know. When it comes to family, family's one thing. And my father always taught me don't fight with your brother or don't fight with your sister. Well, in a business, it's a totally different ball game. And I'm pretty much a generous guy. And I overcompensated for my partner. And I end up cutting myself short. And at the same time, being partnership with you, I end up cutting you short too because I didn't want to start up a fight with my brother. Yeah, take it. Blah, 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 blah. It's only money. Money makes the world go round, but money is the devil, man. Money is,
Well,
everybody
it's
changes.
the
Everybody
love.
changes.
It's the love of money, not money itself, because money is used as a tool or a vehicle to get where you need to go. But the love of money, those that have a love for it. But I will say this: if I had to answer that question for one of the challenges is just the adopting of how you were successful and an old school mentality versus how I've had success with the business and a new school way. Like in the beginning, it used to be you're gonna tell me I've been doing this for how long, and now it's like
I follow your lead.
no,
I do follow
no,
your lead.
you do. But it had to take instances. Even we bumped heads about somebody that, hey, Dad, this guy's going to be a headache, or no, we got to do it. I want to make the sale. And then we fall back and then we do it. And then it's like, okay, I'm not going to do that again. Where that was the biggest, you trusted me, but you're old school and you have to see to believe. And even when you see, you have to see it multiple times. That's been
correct. I'm old school.
That's been my business.
And
That's been my
sometimes
biggest.
I'm my worst enemy.
I think we could all be our worst enemy. So I'll say this. Well, so short answers, spitfire kind of answers. I want to go back and forth. What's your biggest win and biggest failure that stood out to you over the years?
My biggest win is working for myself for 47 years, having my own decisions,
What's the
Yeah, I
biggest?
never wanted to work for anybody. After that lady in Corvettes, you know, disrespected me, I never wanted to work for anybody. I only worked for 3 people my whole life.
What's the biggest? Your
I know.
phone. What's the biggest failure,
My
or
big
was there a failure? And
my biggest
if nothing stands out, then
failure
nothing stands out.
I think my biggest failure is stubbornness.
Being stubborn,
Yeah, definitely. Everybody got an ego,
of course, but
okay? And
it's
me, I got an Italian ego. Sorry, that's me.
it's too expensive to have an ego, and I won't get into the story, but you know it's very expensive. If you had to
Dum,
start,
dum, dum.
if you had to start over again, what would you do differently?
That's a good question that I don't think I'm able to say it right, but I'll think about that one
All right, so
on our
we'll
second
we'll come back to
Nice to
that.
meet you.
Another segment of cold versus hot. Would you rather live in an igloo year round or never be able to use ice again? I'll say it again. Would you rather live in an igloo year round or never be able to use ice again?
Live in an igloo.
Good answer, because if we couldn't use ice, we wouldn't be here. Would you rather take a plunge into freezing water or walk barefoot on burning coals?
Freezing water.
Would you rather have to chew ice cubes with every meal or never have ice in your drink again?
Never have ice in my drink. I
Never have ice.
never have ice. I could drink a warm soda, no problem. I could have a warm water, no problem.
Would you rather eat only frozen meals for a year or only melted room temperature food?
The first one.
Would you rather drink a soda that's completely frozen solid or one that's gone totally flat? You're the master of drinking flat soda. You love flat soda.
I love flat soda.
Ugh. Would you rather have your ice cream constantly melt too fast or be rock solid?
Rock solid.
Yeah, me too. This is weird. Would you rather put ketchup on an ice cream sundae or eat a popsicle covered in hot sauce?
I don't eat ketchup.
I never knew that. You like these would you rather questions or no?
No, go ahead. Go for it.
Would you rather have to sleep on a bed made of ice or wear ice cold socks every morning?
First one.
Would you rather have ice cold hands forever or sweaty hands forever?
Sweaty hands forever.
Would you rather have to take only freezing cold showers or hot showers? If you had
Hot
to
shower. Hands down, hot shower. Good for the brain. Good for my headaches. A hot shower, take any headache I got away.
Would you rather have ice magically appear in your cup at all times or never have to refill your gas?
Never have to refill my gas.
Yeah, that
I go through a lot of money in gas.
if somebody's watching this and they're on the fence about using our services, what would you say to that person?
Give me a call. We're here to help you and educate you, you know? And if we don't make the sale, that's okay. It's fine with me. We make the sale, that's what I'm here for.
You didn't catch it, but nice to meet you,
Oh, nice to meet you, right?
right?
Well, that's what we're here for. Like I said, this is all new to me.
No, but if you're watching this and you're on the fence, just give us a call. Like you said, we're here. We're humans just like you. We will answer, and we want to provide you with the best product and best service that we know how to do. Like that's really it, And also too, if you're watching this, and again, if you fit in that category of family, business, and things random of across different industries, reach out. We'd love to have you on the podcast. We really want to bring value to you guys and just show other sides to us, but also other people. Because at the end of the day, we're all human. We all go through similar things. And I think it's something that we can encourage one another throughout our experiences and conversations.
Yeah, especially for the people that have a family business. Having a business is one thing. Having a family business is a whole different ball game there.
And with that being said,
Bye-bye.
we'll leave it at that.
Bye-bye.